The Morning Majority on 630.
WMAL. 808 WMAL. Got Juan Williams coming up about a half hour from now, Fox News political analyst. ABC's Brian Ross joins us right now, chief investigative correspondent for ABC News in New York City, actually in Times Square right now. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning to you.
Well, there's a new terror threat out there. Why don't you walk us through exactly where we think it came from and how significant it is?
We know it was developed by the CIA in the last 48 hours. They say it was not a person who just walked into a U.S. embassy to give information. It was developed by the CIA, deemed to be credible. Vice President Biden said this morning on Good Morning America, it's credible, but there's still no smoking gun. So right now the broad outlines are they're looking for 3 individuals who are believed to have come to the U.S. sometime in mid-August. At least one of them is thought to be a U.S. citizen or traveling on U.S. papers. A so-called clean skin, able to come into the country without attracting any kind of attention. The plot involves some kind of vehicle bomb and targets in New York or Washington, D.C., and target date September 10th, 11th, or 12th.
Do we know the nationality of these men? Are they from Pakistan? Do we know where they're from?
We don't know the nationality. We're told they originated in what's called the tribal areas, Al-Qaeda stronghold between Afghanistan and Pakistan. They traveled and changed planes in Dubai and then flew into the U.S. So right now, U.S. agents are combing through the passenger manifest from that period of time, looking for flights from Dubai into the U.S. to see if there are 3 people who match the description they've been given.
In technical terms, what does it mean that this is unconfirmed, just that you have it from only one source?
From one credible source.
Okay.
Vice President Biden said this morning the source is highly credible, but it's one source. So now they're trying to make sure that that information was not somebody who came in and made up the story or that it was disinformation. But at this point, they're taking it quite seriously, as you can see on the streets of New York, where I am right now, loaded with police, random vehicle checks on the bridges and tunnels coming into the Manhattan Island. They're going to put a show of force here with heavily armed National Guardsmen and police on the streets all around the city, hoping to persuade anyone who might have the idea of blowing up a car or a truck that they wouldn't get caught.
You know, when they say credible, Brian, does that mean that this is someone that they probably have dealt with in the past who turned out to be correct?
That could well be, or that the information he gave has been somewhat corroborated. We're not sure, and we don't know the source. Originally, when I heard it, I thought, well, it's just a walk into the embassy. Those people are notoriously uncredible, but that's not the case, I'm told.
Okay.
All right, and the CIA is the one that started this 48 hours ago. That's where the information came from?
They developed the information. You know, it's interesting. 10 years ago on this date, the FBI was also searching for 2 individuals who the CIA notified them had been in the country. It turns out at that time, 10 years ago, the CIA had known this for 19 months, but kept it from the FBI. Those 2 were hijackers, and they realized that they were here when they saw them on the list of the flights that were hijacked. But in this case, the CIA is going on its way to make clear that as soon as they had the information, it was passed on to law enforcement.
All right, and they have names, right? Or they have aliases?
That's not clear to me. I've heard 2 versions. The members of Congress were saying last night, after they were briefed, that they have names. Others have since told me that's not the case. So I'm not clear on that at all.
All right. Brian, thanks for coming on. We appreciate your insights very much.
You bet, as always.
ABC's Brian Ross reporting live from New York on a terror threat that could be in New York, could be in D.C., could be anywhere, really. I mean, we never know. But some credible information coming from the CIA, as he said, in the last 48 hours, about 3 people, 3 men coming to the country probably in the last month, maybe coming in from a plane from Dubai is what we heard as well. There's been reports that they do have names, reports that they don't know. Maybe one could be an American citizen, all coming with the clean skin, as he said, meaning that they all had passports or, right, nothing that would say stop that they were coming in the country illegally.
Well, I think what we need to sort of do is not freak out, but keep your head up. You're going to notice today in Washington an increased security presence at Metro, around federal buildings. There are going to be a lot of traffic stops as they check out people. Look, I mean, that's all good and fine. Kathy Lanier says she has stepped up the security in this town. But if you see something, as they always say, you need to say something.
Well, and those signs are already up on appropriately on the 14th Street Bridge, telling you to if you see something, say something.
Now, the president, there was a report last night that he was going to say something about it in the speech, but he didn't say it last night. By the way, we're going to be doing a 9/11 show on 9/11, obviously, Sunday at the museum from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock. So we'll be down there, and we'll be talking to a whole bunch of different people.
And the museum is open all day that day for free, I think. They let people in.
Yeah. So we'll be down there, so check it out on the radio. You can stop by as well, 8 to 11 from the museum on Sunday morning. All three of us will be there. Chris Plant will be there as well. Tori Clark will be on the show, and we've got a whole bunch of different guests that we'll talk about.